Hey everyone, Richard here. So here's sort of a fun video for today. I'm sure some of you are aware, and some of you may not be, that I dabble in custom props and what have you from time to time. And in one of my Goodwill escapades, I came across a 2008 Clone Trooper Rex helmet made by Hasbro. I'll put what it looks like sort of new in the box right here. The one I found was way more loved, if you will. It was missing the arm sort of scanner bit, and the more I looked at it, I realized that the helmet had a really nice sculpt to it, apart from the visor eye lens area being too big, obviously enlarged for kids. Though I don't know what kids will be wearing one of these helmets because it's very large. It fits my head, and I by no means have a small head. But I was looking at it, and I knew I could do something to make it more screen accurate and just an overall better looking display piece, because that's what it was going to be for me, a display piece. I picked it up for $25, but you can get these online for about $40 to $50 if you look hard enough. And it's actually not too hard of a customization to do if you're just a little adventurous with it. But so first things first, I needed to somehow fix the lens portion, because the lens was the biggest part that was sort of attracting from it. And I have some experience in this before. I ordered some ABS model plastic. Anyone who does customization or prop work or cosplay is probably aware what this is, but it's really just a hard plastic that you can mold with heat. A lot of people use heat guns, but I just used a blow dryer, like a hair blow dryer, on high heat, and you slowly mold it to the shape you wanted. So I had to cut a template after masking the whole lens out. This is what the template looked like. Cut it to shape, apply it to the helmet with a gel super glue that is plastic friendly, because a lot of super glues are not plastic friendly, and it will just destroy the area. Won't bond well. It'll just be bad. So if you're doing this, make sure you get a plastic friendly super glue. So once that was in place, I needed to cover up the seams and make it flow and make it look like it was intentionally done that way. So I got some Weld, which is essentially just sort of a plastic epoxy. You mix it together, apply it to the area, and it hardens to plastic. This is obviously a very rough look at first, but you have to sand it to get it to a level portion. This is obviously the most labor-intensive portion of this custom. It takes a lot of time to make it look right. Because I was doing a weathered helmet, I luckily didn't have to make it perfect looking. Any bits I couldn't get to the way I liked easily, I just worked that into the weathering later on. So yeah, first things first, I did all that, got it looking good, and I gave it a prime. With this, just a flat gray primer. You need to make sure you get one that bonds to plastic. Again, really important, because plastic really doesn't like paint a lot of the time. So getting a good primer was first and sort of the essential part of it. From there, I wanted to give it a metal looking base coat, because in the weathering I didn't want it to expose plastic when I started removing paint from it. I wanted it to look like a hefty, solid helmet that was from wartime. So I gave it a metallic base coat. I actually used all that up, so I can't show you what I used there, but it was just a simple Rust-Oleum chrome. Did all that. And then the next stage was going to be the white layer. But before I did that, I applied an agent, if you will, across all the edges to make it so the paint would chip off easier. Most people use something like liquid latex to do that, but I don't particularly like liquid latex. I feel it doesn't come off very easily. And if you do more than one layer of paint, it's almost impossible to get off. And I live in the desert where it's really hot, so I prefer to use simple Vaseline. I get a Q-tip or a toothpick, depending on what I'm doing, and I apply Vaseline along all the edges, anywhere I want paint to chip off. And then I spray paint it, and you let it dry for the recommended touch time, which is usually 20 to 30 minutes. Then you take a simple rag and you wipe it off after it's been sitting outside in the heat here. So the Vaseline is very easy to just wipe right off, and you have a perfectly looking chipped helmet. I was using this flat white to do that. I wanted to make sure I used as many flat colors as I could, because the gloss just accentuates the plastic look of it, and I really didn't want that. So I did that, wiped it off, and then I had to mask all the areas where Rex has his blue designs on the forehead, along the back and everything. So I masked all that, And that is the only portion that I did in a gloss paint. I felt it just stood out more. So I did that. I applied more Vaseline before doing that, obviously, so I could chip off more. And after that, I did some more masking to get all the black places. Again, switched back to a flat Rust-Oleum for that. And from there, it was pretty simple. All I had to do was remove all the paper, all the masking tape, all the Vaseline. I had a pretty clean base. I can show it up here. But I wasn't done there, because while it looked like it had been beat up and paint was chipping, it didn't have that realistic look to it. It was too clean. And for that, I used this Create Effects acrylic wash. I've used this many times. Basically what you do is you dab it on all the areas entirely across the helmet, and you wipe it off selectively, leaving it in grooves and places where buildup would essentially occur. I also, during that process, got this brassy gold enamel paint. I painted on the insignia that are on the helmet in these sort of areas. I assume it's a ranking or something like that for Rex, because I don't think they have any functional capabilities, but put those little details in, and I was pretty happy with the results. So I'll show you that now. I'll leave some better pictures after this, but this is the finished product. So there it is. As you can see, all the metal looking portions below it. The one nice thing about using that metal base coat too is later on you can go in with sandpaper and hit all the edges, and you're going to have a metal looking base instead of a plastic looking base. It's a pretty hefty helmet, and all the electronics still work in it.
Today we fight for more than the Republic. Today we fight for all our brothers back home.
So really cool, and I can fully wear it. I'll probably throw some pictures at the end of me wearing it. You can see out of it without too much problem, but I wouldn't say it's the most practical helmet in the world. But way more accurate than it was before. The plastic additions I made are blended in really well, but you can see where there are some flaws in it, and I just worked that into the damage itself. I don't know how well you can see that, but there's little bits and stuff across it. But there we have it, my custom Rex helmet, and honestly a relatively easy custom job to do if you're bold enough to try it. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Again, I'll throw some more extra photos at the end of the finished product. But yeah, that's everything. So take care, everyone.